Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What is a fun fact that is mildly disturbing? Christopher Mitsplass's mom had to be on set during the filming of his attempted sex scene in Superbad because he was only 17 at the time it was being filmed. I feel more for the girl in that scene tbh. Seeing it's Hollywood, there were probably at least 20 other people watching as well as no actual sex happening. I'll do you one better. Sophie Turner, who played Sansa Stark in GOT, bio parents are separated. The first time her dad ever visited her on set was the day they shot the Ramsay Bolton rape scene. Dolphins can and will pick stuff up and move it around using their penises. Dolphins are the Florida man of the ocean. There was a scientist hired by NASA in the 60s or something that was trying to teach a dolphin to speak. It's a really fasciatic story of a time when government departments could spend money on things like trying to get a dolphin to speak. They learned a lot, but nobody really remembers anything about that. Anything anyone wants to talk about is how the researcher definitely jacked off the dolphin and definitely might have fucked the dolphin. Edit, https www.thejuedia.com/environment/2014/Jun/08 The dolphin who loved me. Also, they may have given the dolphin LSD just to see what happened. A very 60s thing to do. They also rape people, and are known to push people out to sea about as much as they push them ashore. They also get high off sea urchins and puffer fish. They pass it around like a fucking bong. Further edit, didn't realize this would get so much attention, so I have another dolphin fact for you. A guy had his penis crushed trying to fuck a dolphin. He worked for SeaWorld or something. There's a condition in which people become blind, but deny their blindness. The brain creates false perceptions to fill in for the lack of sight. It's called the Anton syndrome. So can they still see, or do they only think they can see and it's just a hallucination? They're not denying being blind, the brain just fills in holes. My mom has this. So for example, she will be walking down the hallway and the brain will just repeat the hallway instead of a doorway she can't see because of a hole in her vision. So when she sees the doorway as it actually comes into her line of sight, she usually runs into the door because the brain was filling in spots that weren't the door to make up for her lost vision. Edit, I should have read the wiki page better. She doesn't have this, she has something super similar. Sorry for the confusion. In medieval times, diabetes was known as the honey sickness, and to test for it a physician would have to taste your urine. In Korean it is called, which translates to sweet urine disease. Diabetes mellitus, the full name of the disease, actually translates to a similar thing. Mellitus is like honey in Greek. A lion's tongue is so rough it can lick your skin off. I learned this valuable piece of information from a toy in a Arby's kids meal when I was younger. On a related note, in medieval times a form of torture involved a goat licking the sole of your feet. Their tongue is rough enough that it can slowly lick off your skin. And the salt used to encourage the goat to lick them only make pain worse. Well, what kind of psychopath came up with that idea the first time? A goat licking the hell out of someone until they reach insanity? It's so crazy, it just might work. When you're cremated, your teeth explode from the heat. Forbidden popcorn. Edit, came back from making sundried tomatoes to 40 notifications and a few thousand people I've mentally disturbed. Edit, a lot of people are curious about the tomatoes, so here's a little recipe. Oven to 225 degrees Fahrenheit, and halve your tomatoes. Roll them in a mixture of olive oil, oregano, salt, and pepper, amounts vary depending on taste. Put on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and bake for 4 hours or until crisp. Enjoy alone or on salads /fettuccine Alfredo. Moths will vibrate their genitals as a way to prevent bats from locating them. Joker. Where did you go? What's the matter, bats? Can't see a guy with some jiggle in his pickle. Hoo. You'll pay for this. Turtles can masturbate. Found Master Splinter's Reddit account. T-Turtle PPPOWA. If Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin got stuck on the moon, the official policy was to cut communication and let them suffocate in silence. Nixon even had a speech prepared in case this happened. They were too at risk to qualify for life insurance, so they autographed memorabilia beforehand that their family could sell if they couldn't return. P.S. They also had to pass through customs when they returned. Did they have to take their passports with them to the moon to be able to go through customs when they got back? Edit, really? My most upvoted comment is about whether you need a passport for intragalactic travel. To H.R. Haldemer. From Bill Sapphire. July the 18th, 1969. In event of moon disaster, fate has ordained that the men who went to the moon to explore in peace will stay on the moon to rest in peace. These brave men, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, know that there is no hope for their recovery. But they also know that there is hope for mankind in their sacrifice. These two men are laying down their lives in mankind's most noble goal, the search for truth and understanding. They will be mourned by their families and friends, they will be mourned by their nation, they will be mourned by the people of the world, they will be mourned by a Mother Earth that dared send two of her sons into the unknown. In their exploration, they stirred the people of the world to feel as one. In their sacrifice, they bind more tightly the brotherhood of man. In ancient days, men looked at stars and saw their heroes in the constellations. In modern times, we do much the same, but our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. Others will follow, and surely find their way home. Man's search will not be denied. But these men were the first, and they will remain the foremost in our hearts. For every human being who looks up at the moon in the nights to come will know that there is some corner of another world that is forever mankind. Prior to the President's statement, the President should telephone each of the widows to be. After the President's statement, at the point when NASA ends communications with the men, a clergyman should adopt the same procedure as a burial at sea, commending their souls to the deepest of the deep, concluding with the Lord's Prayer. The noun widows to be is absolutely tragic. It isn't your sweat that smells, it comes from bacteria living on your body, essentially shitting stuff out after they feast on your secretions. At least I'm not the only one shitting on myself. I missed 10 seconds ago when I didn't know this existed. Tumors can grow teeth, hair, eyes and miniature versions of organs. I believe they're called children. Now that's a parasite. Source, 2 kids. Dermoid cyst. I had one on an ovary and it had hair and teeth. I told my sister I was going to ask for it in a jar and she'd be an aunt. I meant teratomas. I'll have to research dermoid cysts a bit, but 10/10ths approach there. Woodpecker's tongue wraps all the way around his skull. Interestingly, this effectively makes a woodpecker immune to concussions. So whack him in the head to your heart's content. The sea cucumber will disembowel itself when it feels threatened. It will projectile vomit its digestive system to scare off a predator. And the ejector is a delicacy in Japan called kuawata. For the second time in one thread, your reply is both informative and literal. Sick. I think I did this at my 8th grade dance. Everyone thought I was weird, but now I know I was just doing the sea cucumber. There are over 200 corpses on Mount Everest and they are used as waypoints for climbers. I just watched a Bear Grylls interview for Vanity Fair where he goes over 10 survival scenes in movies or shows, and one of the last ones is a movie about a guy who dies on Everest and he gets choked up cause he climbed Everest and has seen the guy who's featured in the film. The body is perfectly preserved and he's like 20 yards from the top and everyone passes him. Everyone loves to shit on that dude for the fake stuff he did on Man vs. Wild, but nobody remembers that it's just a TV show. In reality, Bear Grylls a fucky badass. Pretty genuine dude too from what I can tell. Probably from all the piss he drinks. People simply arrange the frozen corpses to make arrow shapes. It's cheaper to print with human blood instead of printer ink. I suppose the reason we don't do this is because printer ink comes in yellow, cyan, and magenta, and human blood only comes in shades of red. Yeah, but we could print in red and white instead of black and white. Dolphins use dead fish as pocket pussies. Okay, what the fuck? Exactly. Male anglerfish breed by attaching itself to the bottom of the female and inserting all of its insides inside of her. Wait. How does everyone else do it? Holy shit, I actually found an animation that Animal Planet made of what it would look like if humans mated like anglerfish. I have no idea why they did this, but it's hilarious. https://u2.be https://www.theoatmeal.com/comics/angler. Relevant. Male anglerfish only purpose in life is to effectively become the testicles for a female anglerfish. It's not a fun existence. Meerkats are adorable creatures. They even started in a show called Meerkat Manor. But they are, by far, the most murderous species of any animal, killing more of their own species with greater frequency than any other animal. I was at a zoo a while back and they actually described them as piranhas of the desert. Butterflies engage in a behavior called mud puddling where they seek out puddles of moisture to drink for nutrients. If a puddle of blood is the closest thing, they will puddle in it and proceed to drink the blood for its nutrients. Butterflies are vampires confirmed.